Before the Indigo Disc, we saw Kieran slowly go nuts. Not to mention, fans also pulled an asset in Ogerpon's backstory. We knew Pecharunt as Doku Taro when we found the image file in the game. And as a play on the legend of Momotaro, we knew there was one character missing, the boy, who was born from a peach. We also see a notable purple dust that appears out of Kieran's hand when he punches the Shrine of the Loyal Three. Now, under most circumstances, one could brush this off as spurious or a visual error, but the shrine did rumble, explode into purple light. Obviously, there must be a Pecharunt connection, right? But no, somehow the Loyal Three returned. Indigo disconfirmed that Kieran's actions were entirely his own doing, no possession, no peach nearby. And in Mochi Mayhem, he is basically the only party member who isn't possessed by an evil peach the entire time. So, apparently Kieran has the ability to raise the dead through being really angry. This is never brought up again at all. Or maybe, if Terapagos is any indication, we're such a magnetic hero that we can simply attract Pokemon from beyond the grave. That would make a great horror story, honestly. There have been many fan rewrites which ties into Pecharunt possessing Kieran. Before the release of the Indigo Disc, we've probably had a bunch of stories where Pecharunt did possess Kieran and cause a reign of terror at Blueberry Academy. I don't think I've seen one where anyone asked whether Kieran would actually accept Pecharunt's power. As the legend goes, Okidogi wanted strength and received it in exchange for being Pecharunt's retainer. Monkidori wanted intelligence and thus received it. Retainer bit as well. Pheasantipity wanted beauty and thus received it, with the condition of being a retainer. If offered power to beat the protagonist in exchange for becoming a retainer of Pecharunt, would Kieran actually accept such power? I personally don't think so. His whole arc is about him becoming stronger to beat the protagonist and then realizing the folly of it all. However, one key thread that must be consistent is that his strength must be his own and on his own terms. Even when actively seeking great power, he doesn't want the great power to be in the driver's seat. He must be in the driver's seat. He must be the one giving commands. I doubt he would ever allow himself to gain Pecharunt's power, because I doubt his pride would ever allow him to accept it, because he didn't catch Pecharunt. Pecharunt would approach him and offer him this power. What a hollow victory would it be knowing that you were only an attack dog for another character? The only way I can reasonably see this working is if Kieran ends up battling the player, winning the battle, and the player just uses Talk no Jutsu. Yeah, real funny considering that the dialogue is basically non-existent. To tell Kieran that his victory came because he received a blessing from Pecharunt rather than any actual merit he had. Kieran then realizes the folly of it all and then rejects Pecharunt's gift, even if it means becoming weaker since the merit is not his own. Of course, I want his reign of terror in Blueberry Academy to still persist afterwards because I really don't like the idea of the possession just simply absolving him of his sins. There's a reason why the Alien Costume Saga of Spider-Man the Animated Series would affect how the storyline will play out from then on. In the original Alien Costume Saga, it just made Peter tired. In the animated series, it increases aggression and decreases inhibitions, meaning that the character would have to come face to face with their worst flaws and worst parts of themselves. I guess depending on how much of a trickster you want to make Pecharunt, I guess Pecharunt could be beaten by Kieran, Kieran captures Pecharunt, and Pecharunt in exchange for, well, not exchange, more like a reward for Kieran's victory, will grant him any wish, sort of like finding a genie's lamp. And like a genie, you know how this goes. The genie will trick him. I think it's rather amusing that everyone really dislikes the lore of Terapagos, well, in this case, lack thereof, unless you're an anime watcher, which is still miles better than the games, to the point that they would rather have the Loyal Three, Pecharunt, and Ogerpon tie into the plot of the Indigo Disc. Those are just my thoughts on the matter. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.